Thank you for joining me on a Sunday. Let's take a minute to think about that. It's Sunday. On a day when a lot of folks in our community are going to church, as I did this morning, as the mayor did this morning. In fact, I called him in church to let him know about this meeting. When folks are just generally out trying to take advantage of the amenities and all the wonderful things we have to do in our city and our community. The men and women of the Rochester Police Department continue to working as they always do. In fact, they're continuing to work right now as we speak, as they always are when I'm in here addressing the rest of the community. So approximately 7 a.m. this morning, members of the RPD responded to 24 Oscar Street, that's in the Clinton section in the northeast part of the city, for the report of a male shot. Upon arrival, we did locate a 30-year-old victim. I am going to release his name because the family is aware. This male was David Vazquez. He was suffering from at least one gunshot wound to his upper body. Unfortunately, he was pronounced dead at the scene, that being at 24 Oscar Street. Major Crimes Unit began investigating this incident and did develop a possible suspect. At around 11:40 a.m., uniformed officers on North Clinton Avenue received information that the possible suspect from Oscar Street was riding a bike in the North Clinton Avenue area. They attempted to stop him near the intersection of North Clinton Avenue and Laforce Street. The suspect dropped his bike and immediately ran from the officers northbound on the sidewalk. As the two initial officers were chasing him, a third officer approached from the north and exited his car. That third officer approached the running suspect, who then pulled out a gun as the officer attempted to stop him. From short range, the suspect fired a shot in the direction of the third officer, narrowly missing his head. The suspect then got up from the sidewalk after the initial tackle and ran approximately 10 more feet and was tackled again. During this time, one of the initial pursuing officers returned fire, striking the suspect multiple times. Officers immediately began to render medical aid to the suspect, and he was rushed to Strong Hospital by ambulance, where he is being treated for life-threatening injuries. One officer was transported to Strong Hospital with non-life-threatening upper body injuries. It is unclear if those injuries are a result of the gunfire at this time. The suspect, a 34-year-old City of Rochester resident, is well known to the Rochester Police Department. This includes an arrest last month for criminal possession of a controlled substance, third degree, a Class B felony. Additionally, the Rochester Police Department he was arrested by us, and he was convicted for the same charge in 2023 and 2024. But although he was convicted, he's not been sentenced, as he continues to fail to appear in court for his sentencing. At the scene, technicians did recover a loaded 9mm handgun from the suspect. I was at the scene, the mayor was at the scene. I saw the gun, I saw the casings, I've walked it. I can tell you this was a real gun. And going back to the question I got about the 5-year-old, yes, this really happened. The Rochester Police Department's major crimes and professional standards sections are conducting parallel investigations into today's incident. As part of this fact-finding, we do encourage anyone with video, photos, or any other information to call 911, the homicide unit, or Crime Stoppers, or email majorcrimes@cityofrochester.gov. I will note today we had quite a bit of citizen cooperation that have helped us out with both these investigations. So I'd like to say thank you to the community for helping us with that. Again, we can't do our job without support from the community. As this investigation unfolds, we will continue to keep our community updated with as much information as possible. So again, it's very early in the investigation. Like I said, these take a long time to unfold between the technician work, ballistics evidence. We have watched the video, but again, when we get going with these, we all know we watch it frame by frame by frame. So this incident was, speaking of video, captured by both body-worn camera and blue light camera, both of which will be released publicly as soon as practical. Once the suspect is criminally charged, he will be named. I would like to thank both the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, the New York State Police, and also the Flower City Chaplain Corps, who came in and responded to the hospital for the injured officer. In closing, I have two messages. The first message is for our community. The Rochester Police Department will continue to do everything in its power to make our community a safe place. My message to the men and women of the Rochester Police Department is this: Stay strong, be professional, do your job knowing that the good people of the city of Rochester and Monroe County support you in your struggles to see that justice is done. I'm going to hand it over to Mayor Evans.
Thank you, Chief, and I'll just be brief. Let me say I had the opportunity to be on the scene, visit the scene where this took place over in the Clinton section, and also visit the injured officer, who was one of our best. Our thoughts and prayers are with our injured officer. I hope that he will have a speedy recovery. And I'll just say this, and there'll be more time to discuss all of the particulars of this case. And I don't want to say anything that would hurt the investigation. But I will say that we're going to have a larger conversation about what we do about people who are sentenced and still allowed to repeat the same crimes over and over again. And also a conversation about what makes a person think that they can carry an illegal handgun and terrorize people with it in the community. I want to say that these folks were doing their jobs this morning because the community stepped up and said, we want safety. We want to make sure that we're living in a community where we have peace of mind, where we have safety, and where we create a bright community for everybody. And this officer was doing that job. I'm thankful that he is still here with us, but this could have been a different story that we were telling today. And I think the community needs to understand that. But also I think the community needs to understand that there were people in the community who stepped forward. I saw it with my own eyes, that were on the scene to provide information to the men and women of Rochester Police Department, because they're saying this is our community too. And we've had enough of people turning it upside down. And I'll leave it there, but I'll ask that you pray for the officers involved, particularly our injured officers. And I want to urge anyone that has any video, any photos, if you've heard anything else, to please make sure that you reach out to the Major Crimes Unit. We can't do this alone. It is just not government and the police department. It's the broader community that must come together to help us stop bad behavior that we sometimes see in our community. I think the press release speaks for itself. And as the chief said, we will be as transparent as possible as it unfolds, but I ask for people to be patient. But more importantly, I ask you to continue to look out for one another in the community. And when you see something that is not right, make sure that you alert Major Crimes 911 and others, so we can make sure that we make sure that we connect with our community in a way that makes us all proud, particularly on a Sunday morning. We should not be dealing with this on a Sunday morning. This could have been preventable. Read the press release. This should not have happened this morning. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take a few questions again. Keep in mind my answers are going to be limited as this is a very fresh investigation.
What could you tell us about, I apologize to you first?
Yep, you then, you. Go ahead.
What could you tell us about the officer? Are they awake and talking at this moment?
Yes, the mayor and I both visited him in the hospital. He's awake and talking. He has family with him. Again, minor injuries, but, again, anytime we're talking about firearms or, it's, yeah. We're not going to release his name. I can tell you he is a veteran of the force. In fact, we've worked almost our entire careers together. He has as much time on the job as I do. And we'll leave it at that.
Are you still investigating whether this suspect was also involved with the Oscar Street shooting?
Yes, we are.
Any update on the suspect's condition?
The suspect has made it through surgery and is in intensive care at this time.
Chief, you mentioned you could be standing up here talking about a much graver situation for the officers. bullet came close. Can you elaborate on that, how the training kind of helped them? And
Well, their training always helps, but after watching what I watched today, I really think it was God helping him out.
How are the other officers who responded with him?
They're doing well. Obviously, all three are going well. One will be on medical, the other will be on administrative assignment, as is our standard procedure while we go through this exercise and investigation.
Chief, either for you or the mayor, but how frustrating is it that this suspect should have been incarcerated already? He should have been arrested, he should have been whatever his charges would had pending.
Well, you know, as a cop, it's very frustrating. That's not my call. We enforce the laws that we're given. We continue to do our best to adapt, improvise, and overcome the roadblocks that we have in front of us. And I expect that the men and women of the RPD will keep doing that as we have done. Mayor,
I
did you
think,
want to comment on that?
this is a case study in terms of, and you know, I'm very collaborative, and I don't throw people under the bus. But I will say that this is an example of our judicial system. We need to see what we can do to expedite sentencing and bringing things to a conclusion, both for the suspects, but also for our residents and the men and women that are in the Rochester Police Department. It sends a very bad message to our community when you have people that reach out, police officers that then make the arrest, the public and juries or a judge that makes a sentence, and then it's not done. And if you look at this particular case, this was something that we knew happened, that this person was involved in various things. So I think not even just this case, I think that this brings to light a larger conversation. And I'm happy to bring it out about how you speed up the criminal justice system to make sure that you have an adjudication and a sentencing. This should not have taken a year. When we know on paper what's happening here, and sometimes we just have to have those conversations, and I look forward to having them both with our friends in the judiciary system as well as our folks in the state courts, because we can't have this. This should not have happened. It just should not have.
My question for the mayor, how will you move forward and
People's Exhibit A, you have it here. This is someone that was sentenced and was out, and while they were out, they still were engaging in this. And again, I don't want to go into even more detail because there's other parts of the investigation that are happening, but so we're gonna have to unpack this. We're gonna have to unpack this and ask how this could happen when we know all of this background. This isn't like this isn't like just happened and we have to try to figure it out. Look at the history. Look what happened. It's not fair to the broader community, not fair to the men and women in the Rochester Police Department. This should not happen. And I just can't be the only one saying it. Other people in the community are going to have to say that. This particular case should not happen. There should not be an injured officer right now, because this individual should not have been out on the streets.
Thank you, everybody.